Welcome to the StrongRack's 4-foot by 8-foot steel garage storage ceiling platform installation video. In this video, you will be taken through a simple step-by-step installation process. For more detailed installation documentation, please refer to the printed installation guide that came with your product. For installation of your product, you will need the following tools: a pencil, level, tape measure, stud finder, electric drill with a 1/8 inch drill bit and a standard socket set. The hardware kit within the packaging contains the following: as well as the following parts: the first step of installation is determining your ceiling support system. Please refer to Appendix 1 of the installation manual for detailed information. The second step is to determine the location in which you want to install the 4-foot by 8-foot StrongRack. To do so, use the rack placement guide to map out the desired rack location. The 4 tacks represent each corner of the 4-foot by 8-foot unit. The tacks and string represent a visual guide to begin the installation process. Precise measurements are essential and are included in the installation manual. Once the rack placement guide is secured to the ceiling, take note of the 4 colored tape markings on the string. These markings indicate where each of the down tubes will be placed. Starting at the first tack, which will be the corner of the rack, the first tape marker should be 21.5 inches from the first tack down the 8-foot length, giving you the center of the first down tube location. The next down tube location will be 53 inches to the next tube location. This will complete one side of your ceiling mounts. You will then repeat the process on the other 8-foot side of your rack. Next, you will locate the trusses closest to the 4 colored markings. From the position of the first tape marker, you will want to run your stud finder in a line parallel to the string. If your stud finder does not show the truss location, try moving your stud finder perpendicular to the string. Once you locate a truss, go in the opposite direction until you locate the second truss. Most homes have trusses 16 inches or 24 inches apart. Mark both trusses with a pencil. This will be the position where you need to drill or probe into the drywall to identify the center of the truss. Please refer to the installation guide under Appendix 3. Use lag screws to affix each mounting track to the 2 closest trusses. Using 2 separate trusses is the preferred method. Using the medium bolts, attach a down tube to a mounting track. The down tube should be centered over the color marking. The upper tube does not need to be centered on the mounting track. Repeat this process for the remaining down tubes. Insert an inner tube into the down tube, then slide the inner tube up or down to determine the desired height of your StrongRack, taking into account the size of your vehicle, your height, steps, ground storage, etc. Use 3 large carriage bolts and 3 small nuts to secure each tube together. The flat head of the bolt should face outward. Repeat this step for the remaining inner tubes, ensuring that they are all the same height. This can be achieved by counting the exposed holes on the inner tube to ensure level installation. To assemble the side of the platform, begin by laying 2 4-foot rails end to end. Use the universal rail connector along with 10 small carriage bolts and 10 small nuts to join the 2 4-foot rails. Repeat this process with 2 of the remaining 4-foot rails and the second universal rail connector. Lay each completed 8-foot rail section across the feet of the 2 inner tubes with the universal connector in the center. Measure the distance from the wall to each 8-foot section to ensure proper alignment of the 2. Once aligned, use 1 rail clamp, 1 large bolt, and 1 large nut to secure each rail to the inner tube. This will form the 2 long sides of the platform. Now, place 1 small bolt into each end of both 8-foot rails. Next, using the small bolts from the previous step, connect the 2 ends of the 8-foot sections using one of the remaining 4-foot rails, securing with the small nuts. Repeat this step for the other side to complete the perimeter of the platform. Lift the center grid support into position, aligning the holes on each end with the holes on the rail connector. Use 2 medium bolts and 2 large nuts to attach each end into place. Rest the grid support tube on the center grid support, aligning the holes of the grid support tube with the holes on the 4-foot end rail. Secure with 2 medium bolts and 2 large nuts. Repeat this process for the other grid support tube. Next, secure the center X brace with 2 large bolts and 2 large nuts. Do not secure to the center X brace until both sides are in place. Finally, lay one steel grid along the 4-foot rail at one end of the frame. The steel grids must have the welded tabs on the bottom of the grids facing the floor. Each steel grid should be rotated to ensure tabs and holes align properly. Use 2 small bolts and 2 large nuts to secure each grid. Repeat this process with the next grid, working your way toward the other end until all 8 grids are in place, making sure the tab positions of each grid alternate as the grids are installed. Congratulations! Stand back and admire your completed Strong Rack. Now you can load your system.